Breaking news, the Chicago Bears have officially missed out on veteran pass rusher Za'Darius Smith, who has signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. This decision has set off a wave of urgency in Chicago's front office, and now, the Bears are moving quickly to address a critical need. Stick around, because this move could shape the defense heading into the season. After losing Za'Darius Smith to Philadelphia, the Bears immediately brought in 4 edge rushers for workouts, hoping one of them can step up and solidify the roster. Honestly, this move should have come even sooner, because right now Chicago has just 3 healthy edge rushers on the roster. That's not enough depth for a long, grueling season. Smith, the 10-year veteran who was already suited up for the Packers, Vikings, and Lions, had the rare chance to become the first edge rusher ever to play for all 4 NFC North teams. Instead, he chose the Eagles, signing a 1-year deal, as first reported by Tom Pelissero. The decision came down to 2 things: money and opportunity. Smith wanted to join an established contender. And with the Eagles fresh off a Super Bowl victory, the move made sense for a veteran nearing the twilight of his career. Chicago, meanwhile, remains a team on the rise. The Bears believe they can compete in the NFC this year, but the reality is still uncertain. No one truly knows how this roster will perform until the season begins. Backhand index pointing right before we continue with the latest names the Bears are working out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss breaking NFL updates. Now, let's get into the details of those 4 edge rushers who came in for a tryout. First up, Isaiah Foskey. Many Bears fans already know him from his Notre Dame days, and his connection to Dennis Allen makes this tryout especially interesting. Isaiah Foskey is one of the most intriguing names in this conversation. At Notre Dame, he wasn't just good, he was dominant. Standing at 6 feet 5 inches, 270 pounds, Foskey was a nightmare for opposing offenses. In fact, during his last 2 seasons with the Fighting Irish, he racked up 97 tackles, 22 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, and even 3 fumble recoveries. That level of production isn't just impressive, it's elite. What makes Foskey even more interesting is his history with Dennis Allen. Remember, Allen was the one who pushed for him in the 2023 draft, selecting him in the 2nd round, 40th overall. When a defensive-minded head coach personally stands on the table for a player, that says a lot. Foskey knew Allen's system, played in it for 2 seasons, and thrived in it. The connection was real. But here's where things stalled. In New Orleans, Foskey landed in a crowded edge room, and opportunity never truly came his way. Across 27 games, he didn't start once. Last year, he managed 16 tackles, 9 of them solo, and even got a pass deflection. Not eye-popping numbers, but when you consider how little playing time he actually saw, it tells a different story. The truth is, Foskey has the tools, size, speed, athleticism, and proven production in college. What he hasn't had is a fair shot to prove himself at the professional level. Sometimes, all it takes is the right system, the right coach, and the right opportunity. And for the Bears, this might be the perfect time to find out whether Isaiah Foskey can turn his potential into reality. For the Bears, this feels like the definition of a low-risk, high-reward opportunity. Isaiah Foskey has talent, size, and pedigree, and at just 24 years old, there's still plenty of room for growth. Sometimes, a fresh start with the right system is all a player needs, and Chicago could be the team that finally unlocks his potential. Players like Austin Booker have already shown how quickly someone can surprise when given a chance, and Foskey carries that same type of chip on his shoulder. But he's not the only one the Bears are evaluating. The second name brought in for a workout is defensive end Myles. If you followed college football closely, you'll remember him from his Texas Tech days, where he was a relentless force off the edge. At 6 feet 6 inches and nearly 280 pounds, Myles checks every box for the type of long, powerful defenders coaches love to develop. Drafted late by the Jacksonville Jaguars, Myles didn't get much of a spotlight early in his NFL career. Injuries in college raised questions, and they likely pushed him further down the draft board than his talent deserved. Even so, when you go back and look at his college tape, the numbers speak volumes: double-digit sacks, constant backfield disruption, and a reputation for making life miserable for quarterbacks. In limited NFL action, just 8 games, he recorded 8 tackles, including 4 solo stops and a tackle for loss. Nothing earth-shattering yet, but when you pair his raw size with the explosiveness he showed in college, you begin to understand why a team like Chicago wants to take a closer look. Myles remains an interesting prospect. Despite flashing ability, his rookie year in Jacksonville ended quickly, and he found himself cut after just one season. The Jaguars had an aggressive offseason, loading up through free agency and the draft, which left little room for a developmental edge rusher. Still, watching his college tape makes it clear, this is a player who just needs the right coaching staff to believe in him. His size, his first step burst, and the way he carries himself on the field all point to untapped potential. For a team like Chicago searching for depth, Myles represents another classic low-risk, high-reward move. But he's not the only fresh face under consideration. The third player the Bears brought in is Curtis Jacobs, and his profile brings something different to the table. At 6 feet 1 inch, 241 pounds, Jacobs isn't built like the long, towering edge rushers we just talked about, but what he lacks in length, he makes up for with versatility. Jacobs entered the league as an undrafted free agent in 2024, picked up by the Patriots, and later spending time with the Titans. Before that, he was a standout at Penn State, where his speed and instincts made him a key piece of their defense. He's not just a pass rusher, he can slide in as a linebacker, contribute to coverage packages, and even play special teams. And with injuries piling up, like the one to TJ Edwards, adding a hybrid player who can move around the defense suddenly becomes even more valuable. His college resume speaks for itself, and while the NFL hasn't yet given him a chance to shine, Jacobs offers Chicago the kind of flexibility that makes a roster spot worth considering. Curtis Jacobs brings more to the table than people realize. During his time at Penn State, he was a consistent presence on defense, appearing in 45 games and piling up 171 tackles, 105 of those solo. He added 9.5 sacks, 4 fumble recoveries, and even forced one himself. What stands out most is how much his production spiked once he became a full-time starter in his senior year. When the opportunity came, he made the most of it. In the NFL, Jacobs has already gained valuable experience. With the Patriots, he logged 2 starts across 9 games, recording 4 tackles, 2 of them solo, while also breaking up a pass. That last stat is telling, it shows he's not just a run stopper, but capable in coverage as well. For a hybrid defender, that versatility is crucial. Jacobs projects as more linebacker depth than pure edge rusher, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing. Think of how the Cowboys handled Micah Parsons, drafted as a linebacker, later unleashed on the edge. Jacobs followed a similar path at Penn State, and the Bears could tap into that same flexibility. There's also a built-in connection here. Jaquan Brisker, one of Chicago's defensive leaders, also played at Penn State. That familiarity might help Jacobs adapt more quickly if the Bears decide to bring him in. At the end of the day, Jacobs isn't a guaranteed starter, but he's a strong utility piece who can contribute in multiple roles. And for a defense looking to patch depth issues, that kind of versatility is hard to ignore. The final name on Chicago's workout list is Hayden Harris, a young edge rusher whose career has taken a winding path. Harris played his college ball at both UCLA and Montana, 2 very different programs, but it was in his final season where he truly broke out. In 17 games, he posted 58 tackles, 31 of them solo, along with 9.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 recoveries. It was the type of season that suddenly put him on the radar. At 6 feet 5 inches and 252 pounds, Harris has the frame and athletic build teams covet. He entered the NFL as an undrafted free agent in 2024 and has since bounced around several practice squads, most notably with the Buffalo Bills. While he hasn't recorded any in-game NFL stats yet, his college resume shows clear upside. Of all the players the Bears are evaluating, Harris is the least experienced, but also one of the biggest wildcards. Sometimes, that's exactly the kind of player who surprises everyone when finally given a chance. So where does this leave the Bears? Missing out on Za'Darius Smith was a setback, no question. But instead of standing still, Chicago has aggressively turned to younger, hungry talent players with size, athleticism, and something to prove. From Isaiah Foskey's untapped potential, to Myles' raw power, to Curtis Jacobs' versatility, and finally Hayden Harris's upside, the Bears are testing every possible option to bolster their pass rush. With the season approaching fast, these decisions matter. Every roster spot, every defensive snap, every ounce of depth could be the difference between a team that fights to stay afloat and one that makes real noise in the NFC North. One thing is certain, Chicago isn't sitting back, they're searching, they're building, and they're preparing to give themselves every possible edge when football kicks off.